Tale of the Hundred Eggs. After Lac Long Quan finished eliminating the 3 demons, Jupiter, Fish and Nine-Tailed Fox, he began building the palace and castle. In addition to large structures, the god also built on a high rocky mountain a very beautiful residence called Long Trang. It is unclear which mountain Long Trang is today, but as the name suggests, in addition to the castle's houses, it also has a spacious garden, planted with all kinds of strange plants. The god built an underwater palace as a permanent residence. Once finished, Lac Long Quan went down to the water palace and told the people to just call a few times, "Dad. God will come and solve the problem." At that time, the god De Lai brought his wife, some say his sister, O Company, to visit Lac Land. Just like the book Lan Nam Chich Ki, De Lai also belongs to the Shen Nong lineage in the north, and is related to Long Quan. De Lai arrived at the meeting place while Long Quan was at the water palace, so he left his wife at the residence and led them on foot to visit everywhere. I don't know if De Lai came here to have any plans, but just serving the gods and the people made the Lac people dissatisfied, so they called Long Quan up. Long Quan came to the place of action and saw that O Ko was beautiful and brought him. My beloved god then turned into a healthy and handsome young man who came to the door, strumming the guitar and singing a teasing voice. Seeing this, O County naturally had feelings for that strange guy. The two got married. Long Quan took her back and hid her in Long Trang. When De Lai returned and saw that O Ko was missing, he became furious and ordered a group of people to search everywhere. When Lac Long Quan was informed, he transformed himself into a dragon and snake. Where elephants, tigers and other strange animals greet the roads. They returned in terror and advised De Lai to retreat. But De Lai did not listen and tried to stay and look for O Ko. The meeting between Long Quan and De Lai was not heard of, only the result was that De Lai had to bring the remnants of the army back to the north. O County eventually gave birth to a bundle of meat. The couple thought it was a ghost and threw it out into the field. After 7 days, 100 eggs naturally hatched in the sack, and each egg naturally hatched into a boy. Seeing the strange thing, O County took the child home to raise him. Those babies didn't need to be breastfed at all. They grew up like crazy. Each one of them was unusually strong and courageous. Being accustomed to being in the water, Lac Long Quan, although married to O Company, often stayed at the water palace to care for him. Mother and child alone in the terrestrial palace. The god's indifferent attitude made O County feel homesick. One day, O County invited all 100 children to go north to visit their old hometown. At that time, De Lai was destroyed by the emperor's army. The emperor heard that O County had brought back 100 male ministers, fearing that they would come to take revenge, so he took the crowd to meet them at the border. O County saw this situation and had to return home, fearing that they would come to take revenge and worry about preserving Lac Land. She called her husband. The father and son couple had a meeting in the Can Field, County Rustic. At first, O County blamed her husband, letting him know the situation in the north and forcing him to solve the difficult situation. She intended to return all responsibilities to her husband, but Lac Long Quan let his wife and children know his legitimate reason. I am originally a dragon and she is a fairy. The customs and habits of both sides. Some live on land and some live in different countries, making it difficult to live together in one place for a long time. Now among the children, half follow me back to the water palace and the other half stay with their mother. Even though people in the forest go to the sea, every time either side has a tribulation, they must support each other and not give up. Lac Long Quan's opinion was approved by everyone's wife and children. So from then on they said goodbye. According to Nguyen Dong Khai, Curiosity, once upon a time, countless generations after the creation of heaven and earth, in ancient times, in the Red River Delta, North Vietnam. The Vietnamese people have settled here, making a living by farming according to the rising and falling tides and fishing. At that time, in Lac Viet land, a god appeared named Lac Long Quan. Legend has it that Lac Long Quan was the grandson of Than Nong in the north of Ngu Lin Mountain, son of Kin Duong Vong, king of Zich Kai country. Kin Duong Vong's mother was the daughter of the god of Ngu Lin Mountain, that is, Mrs. Vu Tien. Kin Duong Vong married the daughter of Dong Din Lake god. Then the union between the mountain god's son and the water god's daughter gave birth to Lac Long Quan. Then Ho Dong Din's daughter is Long Nu, who belongs to the dragon family, so the son inherited many of his mother's characteristics and took the name Lac Long Quan, whose real name was Sung Lam. When Lac Long Quan grew up, he was ruled by Kin Duong Vong. Lac Viet land manager. At that time, the border of Zich Kai country bordered Dong Din Lake, South Lake, to the north, Ho Ton Water, Chom Ton, to the south, Ba Tu country, Sichuan, to the west, and Nam Hai Lake to the east. According to Lin Nam Chich book. Strangely, Lac Long Quan likes to live in water, and Lac Land is a four-season place with a climate that is not too hot, not too cold, has many rivers, is close to the lake, and has many strange landscapes and unusual animals. Lac Long Quan went southeast, stationed along the coast. At that time, the population in the coastal region was being terribly damaged by a huge fish that had lived countless generations to become a star. Which fish star often hangs around in the Gulf of Tonkin to cause misfortune to people. Its body is over 50 meters long, its tail is like a wind-filled sail, and its mouth can swallow a small boat every time it opens. It has strange transformation magic, allowing it to roam freely and no one can do anything. Fish stars have a tendency to eat human flesh, and many people who make a living as fishermen have been killed by them. Its residence is a large cave leading to the bottom of the sea, above which is a rocky mountain range that separates the coastal area into two places. Ngu Tin used rocks to fill in the strait, making the strait narrower. If people from both sides wanted to travel back and forth with each other, they had to take boats along that unique route, but to cross the mountain was difficult and dangerous, and to go by boat, they had to go through Ngu Tin's mouth. Lying in the cave, waiting to smell someone, it would cause waves to overturn the boat so they could eat them. It is said that there was a time when the god of heaven came down to carve out a mountain to open a way for the people of both sides to pass back and forth to avoid being prey for them. Fish star. The monster then turned into a white chicken and flew up the mountain to crow 3 times, causing the god of heaven to call out in heaven, so he abandoned his work and returned to heaven. Traces of unfinished stone carving in that towering mountain range remain to this day. People still call it Buddha's path. When Lac Long Quan arrived, he heard about the harmful effects of Ngu tin, so he decided to eliminate it. The god told him to build a large boat, forge a large block of red-hot iron, then row it to the mouth of the sea monster's cave. The fish was accustomed to opening its mouth to catch its prey. Unexpectedly, Long Quan threw a red-hot iron block at him. The monster jumped up, frantically resisted, and fought back against Long Quan. The fierce battle between the land god Lac and the sea monster created waves and waves, causing rolling water to splash the entire area. The two sides fought continuously for 3 days and nights. Long Quan received help from the god of the sea to prevent the storm, blocking the way for the fish star to escape to the sea. Having been suddenly thrown into the throat by a block of red iron, and encountering a powerful opponent, Ngu tin initially struggled to counterattack fiercely, but then his momentum gradually weakened and he could no longer fight back, trying to find a way to escape. Lac Long Quan was determined not to let go. He chased after Ngu tin and killed him, cutting him into 3 pieces, causing his blood to run red across the sea. The tail of Ngu tin was stripped of its skin and stretched onto an island in the middle of the sea, now called Bok Long V Island. Do Ngu, transformed into a seal, was chased by Lac Long Quan, killed him, and threw his head onto the Rocky Mountain, now also known as Dog Do Mountain, Do Do Sun. The body of Ngu tin was washed away by the waves to the land of Man Khao. Today people call it Khao Man Khao. After eliminating Ngu tin in the lake area, Lac Long Quan was invited by the people inland to eliminate another monster called Nine-Tailed Fox. Nine-Tailed Fox. At that time, in Long Bien, present-day Hanoi, to the west, close to the Hong Ha River, there was a rocky mountain with a deep and wide cave. People still called it Nine-Tailed Fox. Fox Cave, Lo Ho Nok, because that cave has been occupied for a long time by a nine-tailed fox. Legend has it that the fox lived for over 1,000 years, turned into a star, and had enough magic to transform into humans and animals, often mingling among the people to capture women and take them to the cave to rape. Sometimes the monster turns into a devil and teases people to death. The people were afraid and confused, because the fox spirit often mixed with people and caused trouble in all kinds of ways, forcing them to leave all their land and houses away from the areas near its cave. Seeing that the people were more and more afraid, Ho Tin became even more extravagant, going to the place where the Man people lived to cause trouble. There was a tribe of Man people who had long lived peacefully around the Tan Bien mountain area, weaving fabric to make a unique style of white shirt to wear, so people still call it man in white clothes. They grow rice in a slash-and-burn style, using fire as plowing, living in the middle of a fertile nature, so their life is leisurely and happy, often playing and singing. Year-round, fox spirits come and transform into young men or beautiful girls, blend in with the white-clothed man tribe and sing together, then seduce people to their caves to serve them or rape them to death. Now it was the Man people's turn to suffer because of the monster. When the people's complaints reached the ears of Lac Long Quan, the god came to Ho Tin Cave. Seeing someone daring to come to the cave, Ho Tin rushed out and was stopped by Lac Long Quan. A terrible battle took place. The fox used magic to transform into many forms, intending to harm the opponent, But when faced with a strong and cunning opponent, the monster knew there was nothing he could do, so in the end he had to run away. Lac Long Quan placed a tight siege around the cave entrance, set fire to a fence to block Ho Tin, and used an iron mirror to slash him to death. The monster revealed its true form as a large fox with 9 tails. The people captured by Ho Tin were captured by Ho Tin. In the cave were all liberated by Lac Long Quan. The monster's cave was destroyed by Lac Long Quan's subordinates who brought water from the Kai River. The water flooded in for several days and nights, strongly washing into the cave, digging into a deep lake, causing the entire rocky mountain to disappear. People called it Con Sao Lagoon, Lo Ho Dam or Fox Corpse Lagoon, Ti Ho Bok, and later changed it to West Lake. People who had long escaped from the Ho Tin disaster were called back to live on high land next to the lake and planted trees. Farming and doing business in the flat fields on the west bank of Con Sao Lake, today still named Ho Village. After eliminating 2 monsters in the water and in the plain, Lac Long Quan heard about the destruction of a monster. Another monster in Fong Chau. Originally, there was an ancient tree thousands of years old here, extremely tall and luxuriant, covering the entire area, called the Qian Dan tree. After a big storm, the tree was uprooted. The essence of the tree turns into a monster, sometimes hidden, sometimes visible, wreaking havoc everywhere. People call it Mok Tin, likes to capture people to eat alive, killing countless people. Lac Long Quan decided to take action to eliminate harm. But encountered Mok Tin's magical powers, they fought for several days and nights without flinching. Lac Long Quan's subordinates rushed in to help, but could not do anything to Mok Tin. That could not defeat the monster, Lac Long Quan. Then he relied on his father, Qin Duong Vong. Encountering a more powerful opponent, Qin Duong Vong had Lac Long Quan to assist him in fighting, so Mok Tin was seriously injured and had to find a way to flee. It crawled to the southwest and then turned into a demon called the Bone Devil. The Bone Devil hid in the mountains and forests for a while and then harassed the people, stalking to remote places to catch people and eat them. Every year, residents in the upper reaches must pay 1 person at a time for each place they live to prevent damage. Later, there was a skilled magician who planned to open a large festival to show off to the devil Zhang Quang, then suddenly pulled out a knife and beheaded him. Since eliminating the harm to the people, Lac Long Quan returned to the capital. Downstream, began building palaces on land and underwater. Lac Long Quan taught the people how to farm and dress, often at Tui Fu, telling the people to call when they had work. "Dad, why don't you come and teach us how to draw?" Long Quan immediately arrived. At that time, De Lai ruled in the north. He was a descendant of the god Nang. Seeing peace in the world, he went to visit the country of Zich Kai in the south. Meanwhile, Long Quan was at the water palace. The Emperor Lai left his beloved daughter, O Company, to stay there and then visit the localities. The people were suffering because of the troubles of Long Quan's northern relatives, so they raised their voices together and called out, "Dad, stay here." "Where? Why let the Lord of the North come and invade the people?" Long Quan arrived, saw O County alone in the street, with a beautiful appearance, and fell in love. Long Quan turned into a handsome, healthy young man, appearing in front of the piano, singing to Tizo Ko, O Ko. Seeing the sympathy, Long Quan took O Ko to Long Trang, a castle built on a beautiful high rocky mountain. When De Lai returned, O County could not be found, so he sent his subordinates to search for everything. Where that couldn't work, they had to return to the north. Long Quan and O County lived together, and a year later they gave birth to a sack of eggs, which hatched 100 sons. The children grew up unusually quickly, were healthy, and braver than others. Long Quan often stayed at Tui Fu so that O County could live with her children in the palace on earth. Away from her husband, O County missed her old hometown, so she took her children to visit the north. At that time, De Lai was destroyed by the emperor. Hearing that O County had brought 100 sons to the border, the emperor was afraid of revenge, so he sent soldiers to stop him. O Ko and his children returned to the south, calling Long Quan to come. Husband and wife, father and son, met there. Khan, O County said, "I lived with you and gave birth to 100 sons. Now he has left me without a father, a wife without a husband, and only feels sorry for himself. Please let me follow you." Long Quan said, "I am a dragon, you are a fairy. Water and fire are different. Some like to live on land, some like to live in water. Both sides have different personalities. They don't live together at the same time. Long time place. Now half of you will follow me back to Water Palace, and the other half will stay with Mother." Although both sides live in the forest and the other in the sea, when something happens, they believe in each other and do not leave each other. Hundreds of sons all obeyed their destiny and then parted ways. 50 followed their mother to the mountains, 50 followed their father. Back to the sea, divided among themselves to govern the places. The ancestors of Vietnamese people started from there. O Ko and his 50 children in Phong Son, now Bach Hak district, worshipped the eldest son as lord, called Hung Vong, that is, the ancestor of the Vietnamese people. Thank you for joining us for today's fairy tale. We hope these stories bring joy and meaning to your day. If you love our channel, please hit the subscribe button so you won't miss any exciting tales. Wishing you a good night and sweet dreams. See you in the next story.